Hi there, it's Nicole McWork for Simon Says Stamp, Timber 2014, and I'm so excited today to be showcasing some Mama Elephant stamps and dies. I decided to create a Halloween themed card, and I'm using a Halloween stamp set, the tastic stamp set, and coordinating dies. But I also combined a winter stamp set as well to create this really fun trick-or-treating kind of in the forest or woods type scene. To start my card, I am die cutting some Tim Holtz watercolor paper using the stitched rectangle frame from the Mama Elephant Basic Dies set. This die set has the very popular Femme frames, which is the scallop frame and then this stitched rectangle, the tag, the bold banner, and a few other little coordinating pieces. It's a great die set with, like it says, a lot of great basics. So I die cut the rectangle and then I die cut another small piece, scrap that I had, and I used the Landscape Trio Mama Elephant dies, one of the curved landscape dies, to die cut a small piece to use as the landscape along the bottom of my card. Now to create my background, I did stamp the moon from the Winter Wonderland Mama Elephant stamp set and heat embossed it with white embossing powder on my stitched rectangle, and I'm using scattered straw and spiced marmalade distress inks around the moon. And it looks kind of funky right now. I know you're wondering, how is it going to look like a night sky? Especially now that I've taken the chipped sapphire and I'm blending that into the rest of this stitched rectangle die cut piece. It always is funny to me how it looks so not very good. I guess I can't think of even what I want to say, but it looks awful until you start blending it. And you can see I went back with my yellow ink blending foam tool there and kind of blended it into the chipped sapphire, and it's starting to look better. It's starting to have that nice even movement from the kind of yellows and oranges into the blue. I took the seedless preserves and applied it near the bottom. I wanted kind of a dark violet purple to blend into that nice dark blue. And again, you can go back over it as many times as you need to with the different colors to get the look that you want. And finally, I'm taking the black soot distress ink and really darkening up the whole thing. This is what's going to give it that kind of creepy, crawly, fun, spooky type trick-or-treating look. Once you have the ink the way you want it, I just took a little bit of water in a mini mister and misted it about 3 times and set it aside to dry while I worked on the landscape. And again, this is on some watercolor paper. I could have done it on regular paper, but for the consistency, I went ahead and went with the watercolor paper. I am not going to spritz this piece, however, because I only did that for the nighttime sky. For this landscape, I'm using peeled paint and black soot distress inks. Again, blending them together. Going to go back with my green until I get the look that I want for my landscape. The black soot really lends itself, it darkens everything. It doesn't overpower most of the colors, especially these darker colors like I'm using here, but it really does darken them up, and it's great for a nighttime type of scene. As well as I've used the moon from the Winter Wonderland, I'm also going to be using these trees. There's 2 tree designs, and I'm going to be using both the first and second generation stamping from these trees. Only about 3 of the trees on my card are first generation. In fact, now I have all 3 of the first generation trees. Anything else I'm going to use is going to be second generation, which I'm stamping it off on a scrap piece of paper and then taking the second generation and stamping it on my background. This is giving that dimensional feel so that it looks like this scene is outside in the woods and it's 3-dimensional, when in reality It's very one-dimensional. There are not a lot of layers to this card. So it's just a really fun way to be able to get that dimensional look when you use, you know, even maybe third generation stamping. I did punch a circle. It wasn't quite the right size, but close enough to cover the moon. I had found previously that the black ink did not wipe off of my embossing very well. I messed up my first one, so I just kind of masked that off quickly and easily so that I didn't stain the moon. I'm stamping the images that I'm going to color from the Tastic stamp set using Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I stamped them on some Nina Solar white cardstock, and I'm coloring in my images with Copic markers. These are pretty teeny tiny images, so there's not a ton of shading really for these. It's pretty quick coloring, especially for all the little candy pieces. I probably took the most time on the adorable little mummy. This is one of my very favorite images from the Tastic stamp set. I just think he's so cute. Even though this is not an image that really you would add a ton of color to unless you're, you know, going to do some colorful mummies, I suppose. It just ends up being one of my favorite. I think he's so cute with his little arms out straight and all wrapped up there. So I don't know. I just think he's adorable. I'll finish coloring him. I just used some shades of warm gray because I wanted him to still look like he's wrapped in white, but still get some of those shadows and things. Now for the bats, because those are mostly solid as well as the spider, I'm using the Wink of Stella black glitter pen to make my little critters have some glitter. And I thought I would color in their eyes with yellow, which you probably saw me do there a second ago, and it just didn't work out. So I went back with the Sakura white glaze pen and added dots for the eyes on all of them, and the black glaze pen for the eyes on the little mummy. I only have the little treat bag and the candy to color in. I am, like I said, doing very simple coloring for all of these. It's just kind of either one or two colors, no going back and blending. So very, very fast coloring to finish all of these images. I didn't videotape the die cutting of all of the little pieces simply to save on some time, but I did use the coordinating Tastic dies. These are brand new this year. Tastic came out last year, and Mama Elephant did release the coordinating dies, which I think is awesome. It makes it so easy, no fussing cutting required. And I'm simply going to put together the little scene here. As you can see, I use glue dots to adhere the little bats near the moon, and then I will use some glue dots to attach the mummy to the card. I did snip a little spot there between his hands so that he can hold his treat bucket. Plus I used an X-Acto knife on the treat bucket so I could tuck a little candy inside there. I'm using the Zig glue pen because it's got that nice little precision tip that makes it easy to add just a little dab of glue. Because so many of these images are teeny tiny, that little dab of glue works really well so that I don't have glue squishing out all over the place. Then behind the mummy is that cute little spider kind of coming behind him. And then I'm going to have a scattering of the candy back behind him and then underneath his treat bag. Kind of like he's walking along and his bag is so full that he spilled candy out everywhere. Just kind of a fun little way to adhere the images to the card. I'm going to add a greeting. This is one of the greetings from the Tastic stamp set. Just stamp that with some Simon Says Stamp black ink. I'm going to add some foam adhesive to the back of my inked and stamped panel. Adhere that to a die cut black scallop background, which this is also from the Mama Elephant Basic Die Collection. And then these are pretty Pink Posh sequins here, the sparkling clear 4mm, and I'm securing all of these to my card using matte medium, and the quick stick tool makes it nice so that my fingers don't get in the way and just adds a fun little bit of sparkle to my card. I'll secure that to my card base and go over the candy with the Wink of Stella clear glitter pen, and my card is finished. I hope you've enjoyed this video showcasing Mama Elephant Stamps and Dies, part of Simon Says Stamp Timber event here on the Simon Says Stamp blog. Thanks for watching.